All right. Can you introduce yourself and state your occupation?
Dean Gianazzi. I'm a lieutenant on the Chicago Fire Department. I work second district, which means I work from firehouses all the way from Lincoln Park all the way up to Evanston, and from the lakefront over to O'Hare.
So you're all over the place.
Yeah,
a lot all over the place.
Different houses every day.
Okay. How long you been in the fire department?
25 years now.
And how long did it take you to work your way up to lieutenant?
20 years.
Oh, wow.
Took me a little bit.
Okay.
I should have studied harder.
Yeah, me too. So how are your responsibilities as a lieutenant different from that of a firefighter, like entry level?
Yeah. So as a lieutenant, I'm responsible for the house itself, the men in the house, the duties that have to get done at the house, let alone when you're on a scene and coordinating what the men are going to be doing and what other equipment I might be needing and calling that in, and making sure that the office knows what I need, and if I need help, to call for help. As a fireman, you did a lot of the housework and something I used to say I was the best toilet bowl cleaner in the city because just be funny about the job, because there's some bad parts to it and there's good parts. It's a great job.
What led you into this career? How'd you get started?
Yeah. So, I wasn't really one of those guys that grew up wanting to be a fireman. Mm-hmm. I tried to go into business and do my own business for a long time. I didn't get on the job till I was 33, so I had 12 years of real work out there. Mm-hmm. And around when I was about 24 or 5, I was really having some difficulties, and all of a sudden the fire department kind of had an offering, and why not throw my hat in the ring?
Yeah.
And if it comes up, we'll see what happens at where I'm at then. And I didn't grow up wanting to be a fireman, but when I was having those difficulties, and I signed up for the job, and it took 5 years for me taking the test and passing to them hiring me. Mm-hmm. And at the time I got to know some firemen, and I'm like, man, these guys really like their job. Mm-hmm. And I, so when the opportunity came, I took it. Yeah, it's been the greatest move I ever made.
Yeah, so it kind of clicked for you once you got started?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
awesome.
It was fun.
Part of being a fireman is putting yourself, like human nature is to run away from danger, but you got to run at danger. So does that get easier? Did you learn to do that? Or is it kind of like...
I don't want to say it gets easier, but you get comfortable with it. Mm-hmm. You get comfortable, and now after 25 years, you kind of know, you get a good feel for when this is a situation you need to pay a lot more attention to than just kind of going through the motions. Some fires are small and some are big. Mm-hmm. The small ones and the big ones are both pretty easy to handle. Mm-hmm. It's the ones in between that actually give you the most challenge, because you're not really sure where that fire's where it's at yet. And sometimes they surprise you. You think you got a small situation going on, and all of a sudden it just changes in a matter of seconds. Mm-hmm. And so the big ones are easy because you kind of what we call defensive. You get outside and you just keep throwing water on the scene. Or the small ones are easy because you can get right in there and usually put it out pretty quickly. It's the ones in the middle that are challenging. And as an officer who works with different firemen in different houses, I don't always know the crew I'm working with.
Right.
So I don't know what always to expect of them and their comfort level with some of those fires.
What's the most intense fire or emergency you responded to? I'm sure you got a million of them, but maybe one that sticks out to you, a recent one?
There was this one fire when I was down in Englewood, and this house was just fully engulfed in flames, and we knew right away we were going to go defensive, but they had a lot of the windows were boarded up with plywood. Mm-hmm. So it was I don't want to say it was abandoned, but yeah, it looked like it was abandoned. I'm not sure. And I went up on the porch to pull off the plywood, and all of a sudden I started hearing some noises, and I didn't know what. I'd say a sixth sense kicked in and just told me run, and I did. And I kind of fell off the front porch as I was running because I was running so fast. And apparently the porch roof had collapsed. Just came off the building and fell down, and it was a good thing I ran because I would have been in there.
Yeah.
But when I jumped off those stairs, I didn't know what had happened, and another fireman came running up to me with these big eyes, and I go, quit looking at me like that. What happened? He tells me what happened. I'm like, really? I turn around and, oh man, wow, got lucky there.
So you just knew? Was it a sound or it was just something else?
Yeah, I don't know. It was sounds and a feel. I just was like, something's not right here. And honestly, I'm kind of glad that thing collapsed, because if I had run and jumped like that and nothing happened,
you look pretty dumb. You hear about it when you get back to the fire.
Like, what were you doing?
What role does trust in your colleagues play in firefighting, and how do you build that trust?
Yeah, that's a good question. You know, a lot of it is because, like I told you, we do a lot of things in the firehouse together and a lot of things off together. So if you're out, you know, and somebody's not paying their fair share of a bill, well, does that kind of warn you a little bit that, you know, this guy might not, you know, and so, you know, just like any other relationship, you just kind of start deciding, you know, you're going to put your faith in someone.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you go to a lot of scenes. I mean, we do 10, 15, 20 runs a day. So you go to that many runs, it doesn't take long to figure out, you know, who you can put your faith in.
Yeah.
In certain situations, you know, and there's, you know, certain guys that you're going to task with things that you know they'll get done.
Right.
And you know, other people you tell go to the rig and grab this equipment.
Yeah. Got it.
You know, so I mean, just like any other job, there's better people, and I'm not saying that they're bad people or bad to have in the firehouse or good people to have in the firehouse. I'm just at certain scenes they may not be the right person for that job.
Got it. Yeah. So you got to work with that, I guess.
Yeah.
What responsibilities or duties do you have that most people wouldn't know about?
I mean, a lot of people don't realize the fire department does rescue diving.
Right.
You know, I was lucky. I made the mistake in the academy. I raised my hand when they asked about scuba divers, and they put me on the scuba team. And I was, you know, actually got trained on being an ice diver.
Wow.
I'm one of the few people I know that have jumped out of a helicopter. You know, so it's some of that stuff people don't realize. The fire department does all that.
Is that part of rescue diving? Jumping out of a helicopter?
Yeah. If a boat goes down way offshore, you know, you take the helicopter out there and get to them, and you know, get them the rescue equipment they need, even if it's just a throw ring or something like that. But you know, you can't just throw a ring and leave. You got to jump in there and be there with them. Yeah. Some of the other skills, a lot of people don't realize that we do mostly medical calls. So, I mean, we're going to, you know, I've delivered 2 babies in my career.
Holy crap!
And I'm not even, you know, I'm not a paramedic. I'm an EMT, but you know, the 3 videos I watched in the academy 10 years ago weren't as much as I needed. You know, the best part about when you deliver a baby, there's that the woman does everything. You know?
Right. You know, like the cheerleader on the side.
Yeah, you're just kind of trying to make sure that, you know, there's no things that could go crazy wrong. And thank God for me, both times everything went fine. So,
great.
Yeah, that was good.
Do you remember your first day on the job? Anything stand out about that, and kind of what that felt like, your first day as a Chicago firefighter?
Yeah, I do.
Well, what do you remember about it?
It was, you know, it was pretty intimidating because I don't even know how to explain it, but they started a new program of these ambulances, which were not, you know, most ambulances had paramedics on them, and they started this new program of what they call basic life ambulances, and we were the first people in it. Now, if you're going to be a paramedic on the city, you were a paramedic somewhere else, and now you're coming to the city. You already got your skill set, but now you come into the city and you kind of get trained with another paramedic to learn the Chicago way. And for us, it was the first class. And my first day on the job, I was on an ambulance, and 6-8 months earlier, I was doing mortgages, and the guy I was working with 6-8 months earlier was doing he was a we call a person who corrects errors for people who write. You know,
copywriter?
Copywriter, yeah. So I'm like, and now all of a sudden we're writing ambulance together, going to save the world. You know, I'm like, you know, we have the manual with us, and it's like, I hope we know what we're doing.
Yeah. So you figured it out pretty quick, or what?
Well, yeah. I mean, it was a little hairy. The best part is that I got to back the ambulance in, and the Chiefs drive a car. Everyone calls it a buggy. They just call it the Chiefs buggy. And I'm backing in the ambulance. And I'm not kidding you, the first day on the job, I backed in and hit his buggy. And I'm like, oh, man. And thinking, okay, I know I didn't hit it hard. I'll just pull up and maybe there's no damage. As I'm pulling up, I'm looking in the side view mirror, and I see the door open. The chief was sitting in the buggy doing paperwork when I hit it.
Oh, my God.
And he came out screaming. I was like, oh, I didn't know whether to run east or west down Roosevelt to get away from them.
Oh my God.
That happened.
That's a good introduction. One way to get to know the boss.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And, thank God there was no damage. It was a really dumb thing. I don't,
Yeah, that's not a fun memory to relive.
It's kind of funny though, but it was not my star moment for sure, especially in the first day.
Can only do better from there, I guess. Right?
Yeah, right.
Any memorable interactions with someone you've rescued, like a certain person who sticks out to you?
Yeah, just recently we had a fire that I was telling you about where you got to try and save the building next to you, and we pulled up and this building was rolling and it was just flames coming out of everywhere. So we really just went defensive trying to save the buildings next door, and I did. Mm-hmm. And but while we were saving that building, this old man was coming out of the building, and I went up there and said to him, "Look, is there anyone else in there?" He said, "No." I said, "Do you mind if I go and check the building?" He said, "Yeah, go ahead." So I did, and there was nobody in there. Anyways, the next morning I had to go pick up Michael from my kid from an overnight, and I brought him back. I said, let's go check out this building area that you see what Papa does when he works. Mm-hmm. And we get there, and I see the old man sitting out front, and I said, "Are you the guy that was in the building right here?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "I was the fireman that talked to you while you were, coming out of the building and everything like that. I'm glad to see we saved your house." Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm so grateful." He's like, "My parents bought that house." Yeah. So it was a multi-generational house that we saved, and that was, you don't get those stories usually. You just kind of do your job and pick up and go. Right. But this time I got to hear, the background on this guy's house that we saved. So that was, pretty fulfilling.
Very cool. Yeah. Sounds like it. What's the most unique place you've had to fight a fire?
There was a building that was a big building. It was about 8 units. It was a newer construction building, but they the power lines came. The fire was in the basement, but what we didn't realize is that the power lines had come right to where the entrance to the basement was. Came in the top of the building, came down a pole into the basement, right where the door was, and we're about 20 feet in, fighting this fire, and everything started arcing, which means that water had gotten onto the entire electrical system, and now instead of being contained within the wires, it was jumping from wire to wire to wire to wire, and that was pretty scary because we're actually standing in water and thinking this is not a good situation, and you couldn't see a thing, but when that arc happened, it just lit up every particle of smoke in that place. So you just get flashes in your face, and it was crazy. Yeah. And we bailed out of there as fast as we could, and we were able to put it out from the outside. But we couldn't go back to do our job until the electrical company came out and cut the cable to the building. Right. And then we were able to go and do that. Thank God it didn't spread too much. We knocked down most of the fire when we were in there. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was pretty hairy.
Are you in charge of that as lieutenant? Tell them, saying like, we're not going to be able to do anything here. We got to bail out and wait on somebody. Is that
nobody needed. I wasn't a lieutenant at the time, but nobody needed to tell me to get out of there.
It's pretty obvious.
Yeah. I remember I came out so fast I hit the wall and almost hit because there was a cement wall there with the staircase, and I hit that wall because I was bailing out so hard. And then right after me came the lieutenant, and after him came out this other fireman who I'm not sure if he was stupid or brave, but he gets out and he just kind of dusts himself off. Whatever. I was like, I still couldn't talk. I was so scared at that moment. That was the hairiest thing I ever had. So.
Do you have anything you do to decompress from situations like that? Like when you get all that adrenaline flowing and maybe you're back at the firehouse, like you can't just go like back to watching TV or whatever. What do you do to wind yourself down?
Man, you just talk about with the guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see that? That was crazy. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I'm okay, right?
Yeah.
Do I look okay to you?
Yeah. It's simple as that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Something like that.
Well, that's all I got, man. Thanks for your
time.
Okay,
yeah, no problem. That was fun.
Yeah, good stuff.